Welcome to Financials with Ahawo. It's a blessing to be together with you again as we continue on our Making Wealth series. Today we start on something different, and the desire from this session is to be able to grow us in how we think and the generation of ideas, and that's why we're talking about a world of ideas. I'd like to start us with a story. Typically, I close with stories, but I'm just like the difference is the same. Share what's on your mind, share what's on your heart. As I was thinking through what to do next as we finish talking about mindset, I kept telling myself, why don't you take a break? Just allow your mind to relax and then see what comes through. And then I quietened myself and read about it a bit. And immediately the Holy Spirit told me, why not talk about ideas? Just allowing ourselves to generate ideas, allowing ourselves to open the mind to things that now that our mind is shifting, we thought would not be possible, we thought we could not do in terms of, making wealth. And that brings to me a school of thought that I had for a time that, when you try an idea and then it doesn't work, you're just like, it's a wrap, let me move on. But no. The beauty of us having the capacity to think is that you can think through something, work it out, it doesn't work, and then you go back to the books. Yesterday, as the day was winding down, I was reflecting on a famous quote that the future belongs to those who believe in the power of their dreams. And from time to time, that quote comes to me when I'm just reflecting and trying to remind myself that every dream has the capacity of being achieved. But the only way that dream will be achieved is if I sit down and now visualize it, give it a body, create a plan, create accountability, move out and tell myself what ideas can make this dream a possibility. And thinking through on my journey, I have probably shared it in the past, but if I haven't, well, let me share it now. One of the things I've been doing is a fabric selling business. And for a time, well, COVID, it took a pause. And at that time, I actually had quite a good amount of stock. And I remember having to kind of just tell myself, what will I do with this? People are not dressing up and going anywhere. You know what? Let's close shop and maybe see what we'll do after that. So I still sold what I had at cost price, so no loss, thank God. And then I closed shop and I was like, okay, let's take a pause. And the next year, what I decided to do as we were recovering back from the COVID period is to get an online presence through Instagram. And there wasn't much we were posting because then I hadn't restocked and I hadn't really brought the business back up. But the idea that came to me was just make sure you're posting interesting quotes around, African fabric. You're finding lovely images and sharing them out there. And you're just generating an interest around African fabric and how it can be sewn and how it can be worn by men, by women in different functions, and just celebrating how African fabric is. And I tell you that ran me through 2021. And even part of 2022, it really made it such a worthwhile season that I was not stalking and really making all these things, but there was an idea that ensured the dream stayed alive. So come 2022 and the year is coming to a close, I begin to dream again around African fabrics. And the first thing that comes to mind is, why don't you do a YouTube about the journey? Just how did you start? What did you think through? What were the lessons you learned? How did you incorporate? And just sharing how African fabrics have been. And voila, again, another season of almost 4 months, just an idea that kept the dream alive, and I kept speaking about it and even reminding me how and why I had started. So come 2022, it's closing and into 2023, and I joined a forum with a friend of mine on Kingdom Business Mindset. And here we meet a mentor, and he's just taking us through what are we doing with our businesses, how are we growing. And during this time, having had a conversation with him, then I realized, wow, the YouTube season for how African fabrics had closed. So I closed that. But as I closed that, I began to restock. I began to think through again what can I make, what can I put out there as Ahawo African fabrics, and believe it or not, ideas just continue to build up, and I go back and I try things which I had paused because of the COVID season and just working through my finances. And as we speak, we are on our second restock. We're like fully back restocking. We're selling. We're thinking through what else we want to do. We are still so keen on being part of the continental economy in Africa, the global economy. And for me, that's just what it means to have different ideas in different seasons. You know, sometimes you're thinking through an idea and you just want one, but you don't realize that different ideas will come through different seasons and will carry you until when you're ready for the next idea or when the previous idea has expired, and you can kind of butterfly into the next idea. It's such a beautiful journey. We're not even done, we're still continuing with it. But I just want to encourage you, be open to the world of ideas. Be open to allow your mind to continue to think through different things as you work out your financial journey and as you work out the different things you're doing. And put it in prayer. Our God who is so good, our God who is so faithful, our God who gives us the ability to make one, will not forget every labor to put out there. Thank you for listening. Keep writing, and we look forward to speaking to you soon. It's Ahawo.